ending today, and I hope everyone is feeling energized after a mid-morning coffee. So before we start, I want you all to imagine a world before COVID. How did you feel when you entered a busy space? Did you feel confident or were you nervous? Now fast forward to today. How do you feel when you enter a busy space? Are you nervous? Are you anxious? Are you concerned about who's you right next to? So today we're going to talk about how data can alleviate some of those concerns. So a little bit about me. I am speaking here today. My name is Tanavi Ethinandan, and I'm the CEO and co-founder, along with Erin Morris, of Data Duopoly. Data Duopoly incentivizes visitors to explore, and we gather powerful data insights to understand a venue's movement and shape a venue's future. Before moving to Cornwall, I graduated from the University of Cambridge, having read economics. I then worked here in London at Ernst & Young, and that's where my love for data analysis came from. During my time co-founding Data Duopoly, I've been nominated as the Tech Nation Rising Star Regional Winner and recognized by travel heavyweight Booking.com as a Playmaker of the Year finalist in 2020. I've previously spoken at Travel Technology Europe, the last trade show to be held here in Olympia before COVID-19, as a panelist with the European Tourism Association. So today I'm looking forward to sharing how we can inspire visitor confidence post-pandemic and how digital tech and data will make busy environments safer. In this session today, I'm going to be looking at the concerns that the UK public have been expressing about returning to busy places, namely visitor attractions, universities, and retail. I will highlight how these businesses can harness technology and smarter data solutions to re-establish trust amongst visitors and look at some of the innovative ways already being adopted today. I will look also about how we at Data Duopoly create mobile applications to help reduce on-site congestion while offering an enhanced digital experience. So we gather powerful data insights to predict and analyze visitor behavior to drive growth, conversion, and loyalty, helping to shape a venue's future. Our tech can also help make busy environments safer, but I'll get to that later. So this is a picture I'm sure you're all very familiar with. Well, from Cornwall, we certainly are. After a year of pandemics and lockdowns, the UK staycation market has seen a boom, and sites like this are not unfamiliar. This summer has been particularly harsh on the hospitality sector, with staff shortages due to COVID-19 and Brexit, while venues are operating at full capacity with extra precautions needing to be taken. So how can venues adapt to this new normal? The seismic impact of COVID-19 crisis on the tourism, leisure, and retail industries continues to reverberate more than a year after the pandemic struck the globe. So how data can be used to manage the visitor flow is of critical importance. So before we delve into the data, I need a little bit of audience participation. I want you to think how soon you will be returning to your favorite visitor attraction. There's going to be 3 options, and please, from a show of hands, tell me what you're most interested in. Who's already visited an attraction or will be doing so as soon as they can? Fantastic, most people in this room. Who might be slightly cautious and waiting to see if rates change before they visit, but potentially sometime this year? Few people as well in the room. And finally, who won't be visiting for a long while, not until 2022? Really interesting. Okay, so a couple of people. But really interesting, most people are cautiously optimistic with visiting attractions right now. That's actually quite different to what the sentiment tracking by Visit England, Visit Scotland, and Visit Wales found when they commissioned their COVID-19 survey in July this year. And they thought the vast majority of people would only think would return to normal actually generally late next year. The survey also showed that predominantly indoor or covered attractions are the places likely to attract the lowest visitor engagement in venues, unsurprisingly really. So looking a little bit more in detail, ALVA, the Association of Leading Visitor Attractions, have been conducting regular visitor sentiment research with insight consultancy Decision House. With mandatory restrictions lifting, there's been a strong positive shift in appetite for visiting attractions, with 80% of attraction goers already visited an attraction or planning to do so this year, similar to what we saw in the room actually, with only 5% losing confidence about going back. However, there also remains a strong desire to retain supporting safety measures at attractions to build confidence. Measures to maintain social distancing and mask wearing indoors seem to be here to stay. So can data and the relevant information inspire confidence? The indoor versus outdoor data can similarly be applied to retail. And in 2021, Deloitte's State of the Global Consumer Survey showed that consumer confidence in engaging with person-to-person services and shopping in store remains cautious despite the vaccination rollout. As you can see from the report on the screen, actually attending in-person events is at the lowest confidence levels at 31%, whilst going to the stores is more than double at 64%. This is unsurprisingly because consumers are very much used to this. We all had to get groceries during lockdown, so we feel a lot more comfortable doing this. But we haven't been to in-person events for a long time, almost a year or two for many people. So what does the future of retail look like? COVID has catalyzed the decline of in-store shopping and shift to online. In fact, a report by consulting firm Alvarez & Marsal shows footfall to stores is least likely to return to pre-pandemic levels here in the UK compared to other European countries, with online sales growing rapidly, actually peaking at 40% in 2020. Whilst the online shift was always going to be problematic for retail, COVID-19 has accelerated the urgency for change, particularly those retailers with expansive store estate. Instead, retailers need to shift to experiences for the shopper, what they can't get online. Making visitors feel happy, confident, and comfortable coming back into store has never been more important than right now. Another busy environment already experiencing the effects of COVID-19 on footfall are university campuses. And Nick Hillman, the director of the higher education think tank, summarizes the issue at hand. The difficulty for universities is that students are very keen for the face-to-face stuff to come back. You can only push technology so far, and having a sense of belonging, if it's all just online, you just don't get that. In fact, university deferrals are at the highest level in nearly a decade, with students put off by the prospect of online lectures and a reduced student experience. So data from the university admissions sector, UCAS, found that 16,800 students have already accepted deferred places for this year. And that's a 31% increase from the previous year. And this is the highest increase seen since 2012, the year that tuition fees rose from £3,000 to £9,000. So not only will this impact the campus experience for students, but also the university's bottom line, especially with the decline of international students. So for venues concerned about maintaining health and safety, a university may feel more confident bringing students back to campus for face-to-face lectures if they can share data with students about live capacity levels. For example, if the library is full right now, and actually suggesting an alternative, quieter space for quiet study could be much more beneficial. And it can also help improve the confidence for health-concerned students. The data obtained can also help with future planning for estate management. For example, knowing the canteen is the most utilized space in campus rather than the student games room can help drive relevant investment in the future. In fact, having a venue-specific tracker system as opposed to solely relying on the NHS track and trace, which has generated mixed reviews around its effectiveness, may be more successful in obtaining data around positive COVID-19 cases. People are more likely to use a tracker system that is precise to a set venue or attraction rather than the ambiguous pinging we've all seen recently. This specific data will enable a venue to action an effective cleanup plan, inform their visitors, and showcasing their rapid response and responsiveness to health and safety crisis, inspiring confidence to visitors. It also builds better operation processes for the future, a true win-win. So COVID-19 has been an opportunity for digital and technology innovations that enable smarter, more user-friendly, more resource-efficient and responsive services. In fact, a fantastic example was here in London right now, when multiple London boroughs created an alliance to benefit their community. Previously, pre-COVID-19, if they wanted to share data between London boroughs, it could take up to 6 months. That's absolutely phenomenal and way too slow. But during the COVID-19 crisis, data needed to be shared quickly about getting responsiveness about who was in receipt of free school meals, so resources could be diverted appropriately. The Pan-London Borough Information Sharing Agreement was created, which enabled data to be shared within 3 days. That was fantastic. And this was needed to get resources to those who needed them most during the crisis. And this is confirmation that it's possible to do things responsibly and at pace. Strategic alliances such as this can help build confidence within communities. So data can help address the public health and safety concerns around distancing by providing key information, such as how busy an area is likely to be before they even visit, giving them the confidence to return to shopping centres and the like. So for retail, having a better understanding of their consumers, who they are, who they trust, where they shop and engage, and where they spend their time right now is so important for them to stay agile. By using the right data at the right time, businesses can make better, flexible, and more profitable decisions. In fact, according to the McKinsey Global Institute, businesses using data are 19 times more likely to be profitable and 77 times more likely to achieve their business goals. If that isn't a kickstart to use data, I simply don't know what is. On a broader scale, this sort of visitor location data could not only help manage distancing, but also provide useful and supporting sustainable tourism. So looking at my own county here in Cornwall, which has seen almost 3 million tourists visit, a 10% increase from last year, making over-tourism in the county a real issue. Harnessing GPS data to monitor the distribution of people could help provide real-time data about how busy certain venues are, enabling visitors to make informed decisions where they want to go next, and visiting less busy alternatives before they even set off. In their turn, this would help support local businesses in the lesser-known areas. So, according to Simon Reeve, a prominent journalist in the area, responsible travel is not only better for our world, it's more interesting and memorable. Responsible tourism is the future of travel, so why not let's use data to try and make this happen? So we at Data Duopoly use data to understand visitor movements on a larger scale. And this is what we managed to do with the Tin Coast Partnership, in partnership with the National Trust. We gave visitors the power to explore using an interactive map and allowed local businesses to send relevant notifications to those nearby. In addition, we were able to communicate important community and wildlife information, such as please keep dogs on leads as there might be seal pups on the beaches right now. And this helped drive respectful tourism. And it helps the community benefit from the tourism trade, making it more equitable, which is so important in this day and age. And Cornwall isn't the only place wanting this. The appetite for more dynamic and preferably real-time data is growing. There's demand for greater insight into what's happening in venues at a much more granular level. London City Government is already looking at real-time data from sources such as Transport for London to understand how patterns of travel are changing, especially with the increased adoption of hybrid working. So the pandemic has certainly seen its share of definite tech winners, with Hopin being a great example, with them in Silicon Valley reaching valuations close to $8 billion. There is no doubt, for instance, that video conferencing has a secure place in both the business and consumer worlds. Innovative technology solutions are essential for the future, not only in gathering this crucial data, but communicating it as well. As customers remain health conscious, removing the need to touch shared surfaces is so important, and it's a great step forward. Hands-free technology that enables visitors to avoid contact with frequently touched surfaces, such as lift buttons, doors, taps, and information and booking screens, may see more widespread adoption. Implementing a contactless system, such as in shops or cafes, will not only make visitors feel more confident and safe, but provide them with a sense of control. The efficiency of these systems will also reduce waiting times and potentially free up staff that begin doing much more valuable tasks and improving the visitor experience in other ways. More sophisticated technology, such as the haptic technology created by Bristol UK-based Ultraleap, allows people to operate smart screens without even touching the screen, which is fantastic. And in fact, although controversial, biometric and facial recognition is on the rise. From a health and safety point of view, it can help ensure the safety and security of students on campus, for example. Thumbprints can be used to track attendance and match facial features via webcam against approved ID to deliver online lectures and examinations. So Pop ID, a US-based startup, uses fever screening cameras to address COVID-19 symptom concerns. And it's already being used in restaurants across the US and is likely to be adopted by educational institutions too. So tech enables data-driven decisions, and we at Data Duopoly provide a live heat map showing visitors' locations on site to venues via a personalized dashboard, which helps real-time staff allocation and long-term investment decisions. As visitors operate an interactive map, our AI uses downstream satellite data to offer the best route based on the number and location of other visitors on site. If an area they is approaching is busy, a nudge notification may offer visitors an alternative suggestion or personalized offers to be redeemed in a less busy area of site, reducing queues and giving the visitor the best possible visitor experience. So capacity limits can also be set for certain areas, and AI algorithms will also help predict potential congestion, rerouting visitors before it even occurs. We've also built the functionality by remaining agile as a startup to the COVID-19 crisis to showcase the busyness information directly to visitors via an easy-to-understand traffic light system so that they can make informed choices of where to go next. This allows visitors to be in control and inspires confidence to return to venues. So let me go through a case study. Our work with the Eden Project a year ago was actually with a top 40 UK attraction, which receives over 1 million visitors a year, proved our Explore Eden app could shift visitor flow away from the less busy areas via targeted notifications. In fact, 33% of visitors who downloaded the app responded to monetary offers, which meant we had the potential to shift a third of the visitor population on site, which is extremely powerful. 90% of our surveyed users found the navigational element useful, and they used it to plan where they would go next. It's here to stay, that technology. We're also akin to Citymapper and Google Maps. And 95% of surveyed users would use the app at the next day out an attraction if it was offered. So that's all very well, but with cost likely being a barrier in seeing some of these tools being used, COVID-19 has driven new behaviors, public perceptions, and priorities, and these may shift in favor of technological solutions. For now, relatively cheaper and easier to implement solutions offer immediate opportunities, with technologies like QR codes, like we've probably all seen, make for easy, contactless payments or ticketing. So as well as the physical safety, when it comes to data and technology, we have to consider cyber safety. The use of data versus the right to personal privacy is one of the biggest balancing acts facing society today. In fact, according to Pew Research Center, 79% of Americans report being concerned about the way their data is being used. That's quite a shocking statistic. Therefore, from a consumer perspective, a shift to anonymized data is really important and strongly desired. So as with every great challenge in human history, the pandemic has and will continue to bring out the best in human ingenuity and innovation. We should continue to think creatively for our economic, medical, and social applications of technology. For this won't just help with the ongoing crisis, but also could help tackle future crises. Becoming digital first is no longer a long-term goal. It's essential for survival in the post-pandemic world. So thank you all for listening, and I'm going to open the floor to Q&As, but I'll also be around for the rest of today and tomorrow if anyone wants to chat further over a coffee. So thank you very much, and please put your hand up if you have any questions. Oh, yeah. I think we'll just wait for the microphone.
Hi. Oh, can you hear that?
Okay.
I was just wondering, can you hear me?
Yeah. Oh.
I was just wondering, you were saying how data can help with future planning for venues. What can you expand on that? Like, what would that look like?
It's a really good question. So it was about how data can be used to help with future planning. So one really good example of that was pre-COVID, many places don't understand how people move around a venue. We're probably all very familiar with the clicker that someone's standing there to do. They could be using that time to do much more beneficial things. So actually, understanding visitor flow movements can be really important. Let me give you an example. If a museum, for example, has spent £100,000 on a brand new exhibit and the average dwell time there is only 5 minutes, but they spend £30,000 on a playground and the average dwell time is half an hour, that's really important for in future investment decisions to make sure people are making the most of the resources they're deploying and actually suiting it to their target market. Fantastic question. Any other questions? Don't be shy. Oh, there's a question at the back. Great.
Hello, thank you.
Sorry, I'm just going to have to... Yeah.
Oh, hello. I don't know if you spoke about this, I joined a bit late. I was wondering what you're using for your AI.
Yeah, great question. So the question was like, what are we using for the AI here at Data Duopoly? So we actually use a rules-based algorithm to understanding capacity limits. So we use what a venue initially has, and it will automatically suggest better alternatives. But we use downstream satellite data, so the GPS inbuilt within phones, and we sometimes supplement that with iBeacons for an indoor space. But that's what we're using for our algorithm, and it's constantly learning. We're also learning in our process. So it's been a really exciting journey. Any other questions about visitors, venues, data, AI? Great. I think people might be ready for the coffee. I think the slump's coming before lunch. But thank you so much for attending. And any questions, please let us know. And that should take you to our website. And we're on LinkedIn and Twitter as well. Fantastic. Thank you.